Okay, good evening, everybody. We're continuing in the Hachaim in this week's Parshat Korach. Tonight's shir should be a schus and an aliyah from the neshama of Harav Mordechai Tzemach ben Eliyahu, the former chief rabbi of Eretz Yisrael. We're beginning in this week's Parsha a very basic question that the Hachaim asks. What was Korach thinking to challenge Moshe Rabbeinu? Did Korach really believe that Moshe Rabbeinu didn't deserve to be the leader? What entered his mind, says the Hachaim? How could it be that he thought that he was right and Moshe was wrong? In addition, what exactly was the point of contention that this dispute, which eventually ended up actually being an attempted coup against Moshe Rabbeinu? So the Hachaim says that we're going to learn the points that Korach had to challenge Moshe Rabbeinu from the first two psukim in this week's parsha. We'll learn the first two psukim inside, and then we'll learn the Hachaim outside. The pasuk begins, Vayikach Korach ben Yitzhar ben Kahas ben Levi. And Korach, the son of Yitzhar, the son of Kahas, the son of Levi, took V'dasan v'avira b'nei Eliyav, Dasan and Aviram, who were the children of Eliyav, V'oin ben Peles, and Oin ben Peles, the famous Oin ben Peles, that his wife saved him from being swallowed up by the earthquake that opened up. B'nei Ruvain, they were the children of Ruvain. So the Hachaim says, what exactly did Korach take? Doesn't say what he took. If you want to say, as the Unkelis explains, that he separated himself from Moshe Rabbeinu, Hachaim says the word Vayikach is not the best word that you would have chosen. If Hashem really wanted us to think Parshat that Korach separated himself from Moshe Rabbeinu, there would have been a better word to use. It's true, ultimately what happened, says the Hachaim, is that he did separate himself from Moshe Rabbeinu, but the word Vayikach doesn't really mean that. The second question the Hachaim asks is, why would the pasuk mention the names of tzaddikim at a bad story? Right? It's like an embarrassment to them. Would you mention great tzaddikim's name when a person did an avera? It's a busha. You try to, just say Korach took. We don't have to mention that his father, his grandfather, his great-grandfather were tzaddikim, or Hakadosh and Elyon. Even more, says the Hachaim, it's a puzzlement, because we know that Yaakov Avinu davened that he should not be listed in this pasuk. Because the pasuk should have said, Vayikach Korach ben Yitzhar ben Kahas ben Levi ben Yaakov. Hachaim says that Yaakov Avinu should have davened. None of them should have been mentioned in this week's parsha. The third question is, what exactly did the pasuk want to teach us when it said Dasan v'Aviram? If you want to tell me that Korach took them to be with him, so it should have said Vayikach Korach as Dasan v'Aviram. Or if you want to say they all went together to challenge Moshe, which means they were all in it together, it should have said Vayikach Korach v'Dasan v'Aviram. Doesn't fit in the flow of the pasuk. What exactly was Dasan and Aviram's role in the coup against Moshe Rabbeinu? And the fourth thing is the word Vayakumu. The word Vayakumu literally means they stood up against Moshe. But the Hachaim says that word Vayakumu is a problem, because in the next pasuk, in pasuk Gimel, it says Vayikahalu. They gathered on Moshe Rabbeinu. So either way, either the word Vayakumu means they gathered in front of Moshe Rabbeinu. So what does the word Vayikahalu mean? Why say it twice? And why say that it's two different words? And if the word Vayikahalu means that they gathered to challenge Moshe Rabbeinu, what does the word Vayakumu mean? In addition, why is there a break between the words Vayakumu, then telling us that 250 people joined Korach, and then Vayikahalu? Which means we know that every word and every order is exact. There are lessons in every word and every order. If something seems to be out of order, there's a lesson, as we've learned already in the Hachaim. He's medaik not only in every word, but in every order and nuance in the psukim, that he says that the pasuk is always teaching us something. It's always giving us a sign. So what's the sign over here? Says the Hachaim. So the Hachaim begins with the question that we started off with. What entered Korach's mind to challenge Moshe Rabbeinu. Now, Korach wasn't just a simple rabble-rouser. Korach was an awesome tzaddik. He was a first-rate tzaddik. There's a legend with the Yismach Moshe. The Yismach Moshe was the grandfather of Rabbi Yoel Misatna. The Yismach Moshe one day told his Hasidim that he remembers all his Gilgulim. He remembers as the first Gilgul, he was one of Yaakov Avinu's sheep that was being watched when Yaakov worked for Lavan. The second Gilgul, he said, was that he was there when Korach challenged Moshe Rabbeinu. So his Talmidim asked, so who, obviously you with Moshe? He said, no, I was neutral. I was waiting to see who would win. So Hasidim said, what do you mean? How could you not be with Moshe Rabbeinu? He says, because you're looking at everything after the fact. But if you knew how great of a tzaddik Korach was, you'd be shocked that I wasn't even with Korach. The fact that I was neutral was already a choshev azach. Even Oin ben Pelas's wife didn't say that Moshe Rabbeinu was right. He just said you have nothing to gain either way, so just stay out of the fight. So therefore, the Hachaim says, if you look at the structure and the order of the pasuk, it's actually telling us what Korach's analysis was of the situation and what Korach was thinking at this moment. This is what Korach was thinking. Number one, that he was the Ben Yitzhar, that he was the son of Yitzhar. Now, we just have to give a little bit of a Yevamos picture over here so we understand. We have Yaakov Avinu. Yaakov Avinu has Levi. Levi has three sons, Gershon, Kahas, Umerari, three sons. The middle son is Kahas. Kahas has four sons, which is what we're going to focus on now. The first one is Amram. We all know Amram being the father of Moshe, Aaron, and Miriam. The second son is Yitzhar, who's Korach's father. And then there's two other sons, Chevron and Uziel. Why is this important? Because as we're going to learn, Korach's main contention was that Moshe Rabbeinu was disregarding the accepted rules that the world was based on. Up until recently, there was a concept called the elders of society, the elders of the family, the elders of the community, the seniors, the older people. They were the ones that got the most chashuv posts. Right? I remember growing up, as a 13, 14, 15-year-old, you almost never got an aliyah. Very few kibudim. Even on Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Yom Tov, when you could buy aliyah, it was not accepted that you would buy an aliyah for your kids. I mean, there's older people. How could you come before them? Today, everything goes. The world itself is like that. There's a concept that the oldest son, he gets precedence over the rest of the brothers, even if he's not the most capable. Even if the fourth son is the most capable, the way it works is you go to the oldest son first. Right? You mechaber him. There's a special mitzvah in Kibbur of Aim to honor your oldest brother. Right? The second brother is honored by the third brother, and so on and so forth. Korach's contention, as we're going to learn, is that Moshe Rabbeinu disregarded that. But before we get to that, we have to understand that Korach said, I come from Yitzhar. Yitzhar comes from Kahas. The Kahas was the most chashiv of all of Levi's children. Levi, who was the most chashiv of all of Yaakov's children. So chashiv am I, said Korach, that he was thinking to himself, that he was one of the people that carried the Aron. So if anybody from Klal Yisrael would come to Korach and say, who are you to fight with Moshe Rabbeinu? He had a very good argument. He said, wait a minute. I'm from Levi, he's from Levi. I'm from Kahas, he's from Kahas. Okay, it's true that he's the son of Amram, who's my oldest uncle. Okay, so he got the leadership. I should be next in line. The next thing, said Korach, was I am with Dasan V'Aviram. Dasan V'Aviram were the leaders of Shevet Ruvain. Ruvain was the Bachar. So if you're going to tell me that we don't have a place to talk over here, what do you mean? They're from the oldest Shevet. The oldest Shevet has the right to challenge. We know that Ruvain saved Yosef HaTzadik. One of the reasons that he was able to convince the brothers was because he was the oldest brother. They looked up to him. So therefore, says the Hachaim, we understand now how to learn the pasuk. Vayikach Korach. Korach took to him the following points to consider when challenging, or his right to challenge Moshe Rabbeinu. Number one, Korach said, I am the son of Yitzhar. I am the son of Kahas. I am the son of Levi. Dasan v'Aviram are with me. They are the heads of Shevet Ruven, along with Ben Peles. Ruven is the firstborn of Yaakov Avinu. And therefore, Vayakumu l'fnei Moshe, when the pasuk says, it doesn't literally mean that they just stood in front of Moshe. It means that in their eyes, they were Vayakumu, they were equal to Moshe Rabbeinu. And therefore, if we are equal to Moshe Rabbeinu, we have the right to challenge him. We're not just a couple of little schnooks that think we know better than anybody else. We have the right to challenge you, and therefore nobody would have tinus on them. So, says Hachaim, so what was their dispute? What was Korach's point of contention? So we'll explain it outside first. Moshe Rabbeinu, as we said, came from Amram. Amram was one of 4 sons of Kahas. So make sure we have it clear. We have Levi. Levi had 3 sons, Gershon, Kahas, Umerari. Kahas, the middle son, had 4 sons, Amram, Yitzhar, Chevron, and Uzziah. Moshe Rabbeinu, obviously, according to the instructions of Hashem, appointed the Shevet, the Nasi of Shevet Levi, from the youngest of Kahas' sons, from Uzziah, from the son of Uzziah. Who was that? Elitzaphan. Elitzaphan, we learned, was one of the people that took Dasan and Aviram's body and buried it, not Dasan and Aviram, excuse me, Nadav and Avihu's body, when it was burnt by the Mishkan. He was one of the people that buried them. And Moshe Rabbeinu, as commanded by Hakadosh Baruch Hu, appointed Elitzaphan to be the Shevet, the Nasi of Shevet Levi. Says Korach, how could that be? How could you appoint somebody from the youngest son of Kahas to be the leader of the Shevet? I should be the leader of the Shevet. If you're going to tell me that you, Moshe, are the leader, and Aaron is the Kohen Gadol because he comes from the oldest brother, Amram, then I come from the second brother, Kahas, Yitzhar. So I should be next in line for the next honor, and that's the Nasi of the Shevet. And from that point of contention, Korach took the whole thing and ultimately not only challenged Moshe Rabbeinu's appointment of Elitzaphan to be the leader of the Shevet Levi, but also ultimately challenged that Aaron should not be the Kohen Gadol. He said, you took the head of Klal Yisrael, I am next in line. Now Korach forgot one important thing, that Kahas was the middle of the 3 brothers, right? There was Gershon, who was the oldest of Levi's children. Gershon, we don't see that he got any of the kibudim. Kahas, the second brother, got all the kibudim. Mistama, because he was the most chashuv. Right? Not only was he the most chashuv, Moshe came from Kahas, Aaron came from Kahas, Miriam came from Kahas, Elitzaphan, the Nasi came from Kahas. Those that carried the Aron came from Kahas. It didn't bother Korach at that point that Gershon, the older brother, should have gotten something. I guess, he allowed himself to be fooled into this thing. And therefore, Korach came with his taina to Moshe Rabbeinu. Moreover, he took Dasan and Aviram to tell Moshe Rabbeinu that if your argument is that everything goes according to seniority, in reality, Ruvain should be, as the firstborn, he should have gotten everything. And that's why he brought Dasan and Aviram to tell him, Dasan and Aviram didn't get anything. And therefore, they stood up in front of Moshe with these arguments. The problem, as we mentioned, was that Korach forgot that Moshe Rabbeinu did everything al pi the word of Hashem. Moshe Rabbeinu did not want to be the leader originally. He wanted Aaron. He didn't want to be the Kohen Gadol. He gave it to Aaron. Well, he lost it as a punishment From now on, he'd be the leader. But he didn't decide who should be the Nasi, Hashem told him. And Korach didn't see this prat. It wasn't that Moshe did anything on his own. Everything was Al Pi Hashem, because sometimes Hashem decides that the oldest brother doesn't get something. We see by David HaMelech that he was not the oldest brother. He was actually the youngest of all the brothers. And yet still, he became the king. He became the Melech of Klal Yisrael, the one that Mashiach will come out from. In the next year, Mr. Hashem, we're going to discuss the question that we did not yet touch on is ultimately what is the pasuk associating the names of the tzaddikim. We touched it indirectly, but why would the Torah bring the names of Yitzhar, Kahas, and Levi in this pasuk? Even though, as we explained, Korach used his yichus, his lineage, to convince Klal Yisrael that he was Moshe Rabbeinu's equal, Hachaim says Hashem could have used other methods to show what Korach was thinking.